Hello, Ragers, and welcome back to another episode of Rage It. Today we're going to be taking our first look at r/jokes. If you like this sub, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button. Let's get into it. Hey Dad, how many kidneys do I have? 2. You have 2, son. No, I have 4. Points to belly, 2 kidneys here. Points to legs, 2 kidneys here. The student has become the teacher. I'm a big fan of dad jokes, and it's even better when the dad joke is coming from a little kid. 3 men go to hell, and they're pissed. Surely we weren't that bad, they ask themselves. There has to be something we can do to get out of here. Satan suddenly appears and says, "Oh, but there is. Withstand 10 whippings from my trusty whip here, and you're free to go. I'll even let you pick something to cover your back with." The men let out a cheer. This wouldn't be so hard. The first man steps up and observes his surroundings. Finally, he picks a sturdy-looking boulder to place on his back. "Ready," he says. Satan raises his whip and yells, "One!" Crack! The boulder immediately splits in half. "Ah, F this," says the first man. "I'll just stay." Satan smirks and asks, "Who's next?" The second man steps up and, without picking any protection, gets in position. "Are you sure about that?" asks Satan, to which the man replies with, "I have trained my mind and body to ignore any unnecessary pain. I need no protection." "Whatever you say, pal." Satan raises his arm and yells, "One!" Crack! The man slightly flinches, his pain evident, but he remains upright. Annoyance flashes across Satan's face. He raises his arm again and shouts, "Two!" Crack! Again, the man remains upright, all the way up to the 10th whipping. The man gets up, weary but happy. Satan looks furious and says, "Whatever. Good job. You, third guy, you're next. What are you picking?" The third man takes in his surroundings, lays his eyes on his choice, and says, "I'm going to pick the second guy." Hey, to get out of hell, a guy's got to do what a guy's got to do. So, my twin brother called me from prison. He said, "So, you know how we finish each other's sentences?" John O'Reilly hoisted his beer and said, "Here's to spending the rest of me life between the legs of me wife." That won him the top prize at the pub for the best toast of the night. He went home and told his wife Mary, "I won the prize for the best toast of the night." She said, "Aye, did you now? And what was your toast?" John said, "Here's to spending the rest of me life sitting in church beside my wife." "Oh, that is very nice indeed, John," Mary said. The next day, Mary ran into one of John's drinking buddies on the street corner. The man chuckled leeringly and said, "John won the prize the other night at the pub with the toast about you, Mary." She said, "Aye, he told me, and I was a bit surprised myself. You know, he's only been there twice in the last 4 years. Once he fell asleep, and the other time I had to pull him by the ears to make him come." My girlfriend told me women are better at multitasking than men. So I told her to sit down and shut up. Guess what? She couldn't do either. I went to the bar last night and saw a big woman dancing on the table. I said, "Good legs." The girl giggled and said, "Do you really think so?" I said, "Definitely. Most tables would have collapsed by now." A DEA agent stopped by my farm yesterday. "I need to inspect your farm for illegally grown drugs." "By all means, officer. Just don't go in that field over there," I replied. The DEA officer exploded, saying, "Do you know who I am? I have the authority of the federal government with me," he shouted before pulling a badge out of his pocket. "Do you see this badge? This badge means I can do what I want, and I'll go wherever I want. Have I made myself clear?" I nodded politely, apologized, and went about my chores. A short while later, I heard loud screams, looked up and saw the DAA agent running for his life, being chased by my angry rodeo bull. With each step, the bull was gaining ground, and he seemed sure to be gored before he reached safety. The officer looked terrified and continued to run for his life. I threw down my tools, immediately ran to the edge of the fence, and shouted at the top of my lungs, "Your badge! Show him your badge!" My dad says we shouldn't reward people with ribbons after participating. It's like they're being awarded for losing. So I took down his Confederate flag. Where do suicide bombers go after they die? Everywhere. 2 nuns are ordered to paint a room in the convent, and the last instruction of the Mother Superior is that they must not get even a drop of paint on their habits. After conferring about this for a while, the 2 nuns decided to lock the room, strip off their habits, and paint in the nude. In the middle of the project, there comes a knock at the door. "Who is it?" calls one of the nuns. "Blind man," replies a voice from the other side. The 2 nuns look at each other and shrug. Deciding that no harm can come from letting a blind man into the room, they open the door. "Nice boobs," says the man. "Where do you want these blinds?" I bought my wife a pug as a present. Despite the squashed nose, bulging eyes, and rolls of fat, the dog seems to like her. If you're having a bad day, just punch an orphan. I mean, who are they going to tell? Their parents? I just found out I'm colorblind. The diagnosis really came out of the purple. Do you tell your husband when you have an orgasm? No, he doesn't like to be disturbed at work. I asked my wife, "Am I the only one you've been with?" "Yes," she replied, "but I've had some 7s and 8s. A blonde woman visits her husband in prison. Before leaving, she tells a correctional officer, "You shouldn't make my husband work like that. He's exhausted." Officer laughs, saying, "Are you kidding? He just eats and sleeps and stays in his cell." "Bull, he just told me he's been digging a tunnel for months." 2 hillbillies walk into a restaurant. While having a bite to eat, they talk about their moonshine operation. Suddenly, a woman eating a sandwich at a nearby table begins to cough. After a minute or so, it becomes apparent she's in real distress. One of the hillbillies looks at her and says, "Can ye swaller?" The woman shakes her head no. Then he asks, "Can you breathe?" The woman begins to turn blue and shakes her head no. The hillbilly walks over to the woman, lifts up her dress, yanks down her drawers, and quickly gives her right butt cheek a lick with his tongue. The woman is so shocked, she has a violent spasm, and the obstruction flies out of her mouth. As she begins to breathe again, the hillbilly walks slowly back to his table. His partner says, "You know, I'd heard of that there hind lick maneuver, but I never seen nobody done it." I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like and subscribe buttons. Also, let me know if you liked the couple with a little bit of commentary after them, or if you liked the rest where I just flowed from one joke to another. I'll see you guys all tomorrow.